everyone, welcome back to another video where today I want to talk a little bit about the performance of Doctor Who Joy to the World, not in the UK viewing figures, but instead on Disney+, because obviously Disney are less transparent than UK broadcasters when it comes to viewing figures, but we do have a means of somewhat seeing officially how Doctor Who is doing on Disney+. I actually didn't know this was a feature until someone pointed it out on Twitter, but in every country on Disney+, it will show you a list of the top 10 things in your country today. So today is the 27th, a couple of days after Christmas. Obviously, this will probably change, depending on what day you're watching this from, but out of curiosity, I wanted to see how Doctor Who was doing across multiple different regions, and the results I found were kind of fascinating. Now, this is specifically for Joy to the World, which naturally makes sense because that's the brand new one for Christmas, and the results are somewhat surprising for a show that apparently has no audience left and is on the verge of cancellation. But before we get into that, do me a teeny little favour, click that subscribe button, it'd be very much appreciated. We are trying to get to 25,100 subscribers and we're less than 40 subscribers away, so if you're brand new and enjoy regular Doctor Who content, feel free to subscribe, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks so much for the support over the last year, it really means the world, but let's just get right into it. So I want to thank Cooper Hiller on Twitter for this discovery. He posted top 10 in Australia today, and number 1, Doctor Who. Number 1 in Australia today, and that got me naturally curious about where other countries had Doctor Who on their lists. So I did a little bit of research. Using a VPN, I found out that in the US, Doctor Who charted the 10th most watched thing today, 1st in Australia, 1st in New Zealand, 3rd in Germany, 5th in France, and 9th in Canada. And if you're wondering why I picked those particular countries, I picked countries with high English-speaking populations. Some of these I couldn't get, like I tried to log into India's Disney Plus and it wouldn't let me with a VPN. But a lot of these it did, and in pretty much all of the countries that have high English-speaking population, Doctor Who ends up in the top 10. And if you don't believe me, you can head over to your own Disney Plus and have a look for yourself. I'm on US Disney Plus right now, which is why I can see Doctor Who. I don't think it's illegal for me to show this because they show it in VPN ads all the time. But if you look, top 10 in the US today, it's mainly populated by Christmas films, which is of no surprise, and The Lion King. But you can see there, 10th in the US today, Doctor Who. If we change country to, let's say, as I said before, New Zealand, it'll take a second. The funny thing is, I ain't even getting paid to do a VPN sponsorship, but it genuinely has been pretty helpful with this. And there you can see, top 10 in New Zealand, Doctor Who is number 1, with Home Alone being pushed into second, which is kind of mental when you think about it. Because that's the thing, Doctor Who isn't just competing with new releases from Disney Plus around the holidays, it's also competing with Christmas films, which naturally everyone puts on during Christmas, like things like Home Alone, the Santa Claus movies, stuff that families always watch. So the fact that Doctor Who has managed to be number 1 around Christmas in multiple countries is kind of insane. Now we're in Australia, and once again you can see Doctor Who in first, with Home Alone pushed into second. Skeleton Crew, the brand new Star Wars show, is now in 4th. Let's try Spain, because I haven't tried Spain yet, and that has quite a high English-speaking population. Yeah, it's also 10th in Spain. Let's try Italy. Is number 9. So literally in every country with a somewhat high English-speaking population, it makes it into the top 10. Obviously, some countries have it higher than others. Obviously, places like Australia and New Zealand have it at number 1. Canada and America are lower at number 9 and number 10. And then you've got places like Germany and France, which I think had it at 3rd and 5th, respectively. Basically, what this is all in aid of is to say, when everyone tells you Doctor Who is on the verge of collapse, and we're basically living through another 1980s situation, I want you to understand that the circumstances we find ourselves in now are vastly different to then. And even if Disney don't pick up Doctor Who for a season 3, which, given how strongly it's performing on Christmas, that would strike me as an odd decision, but let's say that it doesn't. With charting positions like this in most parts of the world, it's highly likely that another streaming service would just pick it up instead. And another point I just want to quickly address is this idea that going from Church on Ruby Road to Joy to the World, the show lost 600,000 viewers. So that's obviously a sign of decline, right, from last year. Two things. One, last year was the 60th anniversary and the start of a new Doctor, so interest was naturally higher, which has always been the case. But also, literally the same thing happened between Tennant's first specials. Between Christmas Invasion and Runaway Bride, they lost 700,000 viewers. No one was saying that Doctor Who went woke then. Equally, Strictly lost a ton of viewers this year. No one's saying Strictly went woke. TV viewing figures and TV viewing habits are more complicated than just, I don't like Thing, therefore Thing is going to die in a year. If they weren't, then the people who were saying Doctor Who was going to die would have been right 7 years ago. But they weren't. Now, this is not to say that I don't think Doctor Who could do better. I would have liked to have seen Doctor Who do better in the US particularly, given how big of a push that got. Number 10, it would have been nice to see it maybe in the top 5 in the US today. But all I'm saying is, when you see these people saying Doctor Who's going to die, try and bear some of this stuff in mind. And I know I'm going to get comments saying, oh, this is just cope, or whatever. But that's just because I'm not going with the narrative that everyone on YouTube and on social media has already seemingly decided that they're going for before any of this even came out. There were people rooting for this era to fail before a second of it aired because they didn't like the idea of the Doctor being black or anything like that. It's just the truth of it. We can have a conversation about the show's quality. I myself even said I wasn't a massive fan of Joy to the World. But if you want to sit here and say that it doing number 6 in the UK on Christmas Day is bad, and you want to try and sit here and tell me that it being top 10 in literally every English-speaking country I could find on Disney Plus is bad, I don't know what to tell you. Most shows would kill for that type of audience, for that type of reach. Lest we forget, Doctor Who was the top exporting title in foreign territories last year for the BBC. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. If you're from a different country, particularly one that wasn't covered in today's video, feel free to let me know if Doctor Who made it into the top 10 in your country, and if so, where it landed. Let's see how many different countries we can get interacting in the comment section. That might be quite fun. I'd particularly love to know if you're from India, which has quite a high English-speaking population, what it's looking like there. Same goes for places like Pakistan, Egypt, places I couldn't quite get access to. Those would be very interesting. So if you're from any of those countries, let me know. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you later.